All right, Matt Davio back here at the Market Profile Trading Academy, the luxurious Market Profile
It
Trading
is something.
Academy.
It is something.
We had another partner come with us this week, come visit us from the Midwest, middle part of the United States this time. And Tim, I just want to, again, thank you for making the trip out here to Bend, Oregon.
Oh, it's been a great week.
And, it's always interesting from my perspective to see kind of the background of students and, where they came from, what they're looking for, what they hopefully expected, and then maybe, kind of what you got out of the week after coming here. So those are the questions I want to kind of ask you on our video today. And we'll just start, again, pretty simply, give us a little bit of background on you as a person and why you were interested in coming out here to talk more about market profile and trading, specifically U.S. markets, whether it's grains, whether it's oil, whether it's the financials, and really what brought you out here.
Well, I think I have a pretty good trading background. I've been around it for a long time. But
talk about that a little. Talk about your background a little, just so, because again, we have people that come from all walks that come here, and I want you to just, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about it.
I had a background in the grain industry. I worked on the trading floor for a while, and worked for two traders. I never really was a trader at that time, but that kind of gave me the bug.
And which floor were you on?
Kansas City Board of Trade.
So, again, the interesting thing a lot of people don't know is they think of Chicago and they think of whether it was the the Merck or the old CBOE or the CBOT.
Right.
They don't really consider that at one point, really KC was the prime.
We had a good floor.
Prime floor when it came to grain.
At least it was equivalent sometimes. I mean,
exactly.
It was a percentage of Chicago, though.
Now, is there any floor left there now?
There is. They just sold the building.
Okay.
Or they're going to sell the building, and then they haven't decided what they're going to do.
Okay.
But you can still, I think, through the summer, you can still tour it.
Cool.
So there's still.
I haven't done that. I'd like to see that.
It's pretty cool.
So you were working as a runner, as a clerk.
Exactly.
Down there on the floor.
Clerking down there.
Okay.
Got the bug. Then I got into energy. And that took off. And
so how did you get into, I'm just curious how you got into energy.
Well, at the time, the firm, there was a Kansas City firm, and they pretty much hired anybody who could price an option. So if you had any background, they were just picking off people from the Board of Trade left and right.
And what did you study undergrad before you were...
I studied economics.
So you were an econ major like myself.
Correct,
okay.
Yeah, which helped a lot. It was a good base, but like trading, there's finesse. It's great to understand products or terms that come with economics, but it's definitely not a prerequisite.
Well, economics to me is the well-known dismal science, but it's also much like the weather.
Right.
There's a lot of indicators and very little.
Lots to interpret. Different ways to look at things.
Correct. A lot of nuances. A lot of things. There aren't a lot of absolutes.
No,
when it comes to economics.
Not at all.
So that part of trading probably carries over from economics to trading.
Totally. I mean, you have to be flexible in that way. And you can see both sides of the story.
Right.
So
when you got into the energy business, were you trading crude? What were you?
No, we traded
energy.
We traded a physical product.
Okay.
So that was much more fundamentally driven for me.
Right.
I was in the very short term market. So we, just like you said, things like weather, crude prices, natural gas prices. Those were all indicators for us and would affect pricing. But we really, at the time, early 2000s, we would move the power all over the country.
Okay.
So it was physical.
So again, we're probably talking a little bit electricity, natural gas, oil, how they all relate, and then trading, again, as you said, a physical product, delivering electricity from, if you had excess in Detroit over to Chicago or even further. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
People don't realize that those types of markets actually are physically traded, and the product is managed, again, by a very controlled environment, and one that you have to be registered, and it's a whole different, it's a whole nother trading model. Right.
And the nuance are those physical terms. Yeah. How do you get it from A to B? What's the right time to get it there?
So we talked a little bit about this, and you did this for how long?
10 years.
10 years. So successful in a career, again, of trading, but a very different type of trading.
Correct.
And you said it was very fundamental based and very heavy, very quant driven.
Correct.
In that regard.
Right.
So when you stepped away from that trading career, you said you were kind of looking to take some time off. Why don't you give us a little background there and kind of how you came back into the
at the time
the business?
Yeah, the energy market's 24 hours away when you do it on the physical side, or the short term anyway. So it was I didn't want to do that anymore.
Right.
I still wanted to be around trading, but I wanted to slow myself into it.
Yep.
Figure out how to start. So
Had you ever traded stocks? Have you ever had you ever traded options? Have you actively done any of that?
I did
while you were doing the physical trading for yourself.
Only on the most high level. I did a lot of research on yield. I bought a lot of high yield stocks, stuff like that. But it was
dividend paying, rent kicking.
Exactly.
Stocks.
Wasn't day trading. Wasn't anything like that.
And we did find out we have one of our favorite stocks, long-term holds, that you and I really both agree we didn't want to own any stocks except for
Kinder Morgan
Partners.
So keep buying.
Interesting,
yeah.
It was an interesting little nugget.
Totally.
So when you were doing that and looking to get back into trading from a fundamental perspective, did you think that you could make the transition over to equities or options or futures, or were you thinking anything about that?
Well, I figured. I mean, I'd always had an interest in the grain market with the background. I felt like fundamentally I understood at least enough to dabble.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that all of the markets were going electronic, it seemed like the transition to technical trading made a lot more sense.
Okay, so
but I had no background in it.
So you had no background, and did you start engaging yourself and trying to learn, and what types of things were you learning about on the technical side?
Yeah, well, like I told you, I felt like when I started, and there's so many services out there,
mm-hmm.
and my thinking was, well, I'm going to try on my own, see what I learn. If I learn on my own, it's going to be better than saying, okay, just click here.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm a big I'm a big believer in, again, teaching the fishermen to proverbial fish.
Exactly.
And so that's really the whole goal in having students here is, I don't want to be holding your hand forever, and you don't want me to be holding your hand forever.
Right. So that was my thinking, and then that became overwhelming, and I think I found you in about my 1 year anniversary of doing that, and I never blew up, but it wasn't. It wasn't where I wanted to be.
But would you consider your trading successful in that, like you said, you didn't blow up? That's a great thing. But you understood risk. You came from the risk.
Exactly. I think that's the reason I didn't.
And one of the things that we always
position size.
we talk on position sizing, and we focus on risk first, especially for people that may have never had any experience.
Totally.
But that was definitely a huge benefit for you.
Totally.
Coming into this game, again, we always say it's a game.
Yeah.
Having, hey, I understand risk, and that scares me, which is a good thing. I mean, I always say scared lightly, but it puts you in the right frame of mind.
Totally.
So, spending a year, let's call it spinning your wheels,
Completely.
if I can put words in your mouth.
Completely.
Not making money, not losing money, just kind of trying to figure it out, muddling through.
Completely.
Okay.
Completely.
And so, you and I, you had been on our private Twitter feed for a quarter or so before we, started talking offline on the phone. Give me some indication, or let people know kind of what your process was and what you were thinking.
Well, we've joked that I don't know how I found you,
mm-hmm.
but the from the very beginning, I think just the wording and the support that you gave the Twitter feed fit into my mindset. It was very proactive. It was very, this market's not smarter than you. We're not trying to get out for a quick little rip. It's seeing the bigger picture.
Right.
And from the very beginning, I was overwhelmed by what you were saying, but I realized that's the way I want to think.
Yeah, but there's, like anything, there's a language. There's a the way we speak, the way we talk sometimes.
Yeah.
Can be a little, like you said, overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's really pretty simple when we break it down. And we started getting, you get a little bit more involved.
Right.
It's not tricky. I don't think it's anything that anybody can't learn.
No, not at all.
I don't want to scare anybody away.
No, not at all. Yeah. But then, then it was performance.
Yeah.
It was your mindset, the fact you put out consistent calls, or at least consistent banter about the market,
mm-hmm.
which was totally valuable because, you really helped me see what was going on.
Right.
Bigger picture, or even intraday. This is typical. This is this. This is that.
Right.
And it really felt like, that I had your support.
So when you and I start talking, and we're talking about the process of coming out and trading with me,
mm-hmm.
We give the people that trade with us and want to learn. Do you want to come to us, or you want to learn via WebEx? We do both ways.
Right.
For you, what was it that you expected by coming here to Central Oregon, which many people don't even know where it is?
Well, yeah. First off, Bend is an amazing place, but secondly, seeing you in your natural. In your natural environment where you're comfortable, kind of pulling back the curtain,
yep.
And seeing, okay, how does your day work?
Yeah.
You know.
So tell people what you saw. I mean, tell them, you know, you've been here a week, and this is always good. I always like to set context a little bit. Here we are, April 19th. It's a Friday. You got here on tax day.
Right.
So we had a tax day situation. We have options expiration week.
Right.
And we had a surprise Black Swan event happen in, really two things happened. Gold sold off huge.
Right.
Friday last week, and then
Right.
early this week, huge. I mean, we're talking $250.
Right.
But that was not really predicated by anything that anybody could really see in the market, even still.
Right.
Then later in the week, as you got here, we had the Boston Marathon.
Right.
I mean, the first day. Wasn't that Monday? Or was that
I think
Tuesday?
so. Monday,
I
Tuesday.
think it was Monday. So we had the Boston Marathon bombings, and we're still living through this event,
Right.
this one-time event that's happening as the week has proceeded.
Right.
So, you know, what did you expect to see on my trading desk? And we're standing here at my trading desk. And what have you seen? And, you know, just give our viewers here a little bit of perspective.
Well,
on what you saw.
that's really the beauty of the narrative, because you know we walked into the week. I think you and I talked maybe once before, and we talked about the stressing the narrative, and I didn't really understand what that meant. I mean, you know, to have a preconceived idea or an idea of what you think you're going to expect, but also be flexible enough to say, you know, something may change.
Right.
So, the beauty for me of seeing so many divergent, and critical activities, it's been great to take that narrative, change it, you know, move it around.
Right.
But I didn't know. Back to your question,
Yeah.
just day after day, you know, West Coast time zones versus East Coast. How does what do you look at when you start?
Mm-hmm.
It trades 24 hours. What's important?
Right.
You know, how much is noise?
Right.
So that was really the beauty of being out here, is to really get a handle on why you filter what you filter,
Mm-hmm.
what I think I can't filter yet,
Right.
you know, because I'm not where you are.
Right.
What's important to me,
Right.
and really, you know, sit back and watch you do your thing, and just listen to you.
And tell people, I mean, you again, spending a week here, you saw winning trades.
Yes.
You saw losing trades.
Yeah, we rode a lot of heat. We had
A
some
lot of
hard
heat,
days.
meaning and we were selling into some strength on Tuesday in particular on the
Right.
bounce off the move down. But we also said in our narrative that's exactly what we wanted to do.
Exactly.
If we see a bounce, we want to sell into into this strength. And what happened on Tuesday, and this is always, this is a good point to bring out, is it went right to where we wanted to sell by the close.
Right.
And if you're day trading only, you would not have
No.
had that trade, because
No.
the next morning, on Wednesday morning, we gapped down
Right.
significantly. So, I want people to understand that when students come with me, they get to feel the realness of this game. In other
Right.
words, the emotions, like you said yesterday.
Yeah.
Tell people it was good seeing you talk about the markets.
Yeah.
And say I'm mad at the market.
Right.
I'm happy with the market.
Right.
And leave it there. Right?
No, I know how frustrating I get when I'm losing,
Right.
or when I don't, when it's not going my way.
Right.
And it was very refreshing to hear that it's the same way for you,
Yeah.
even with all your experience,
Yeah.
with all the time.
Yeah.
It still drives you nuts,
It
and that's
do-
part of the deal. That's part of
Exactly.
why you want to learn to not be emotional.
Right.
It's a different kind of emotion.
Actually, yeah, and this is something that we've talked about all week. I actually believe that being emotional or expressing that, whatever it may be, the anger, the happiness, is good. Get it done with, but don't let it kind of fester and reside with you. It
Right,
should
onto
be
the next one.
onto the next one, because
Yeah.
this is a game, and it's all about making a move, and no one trade should define you,
No,
great
not at all.
or poor. And we didn't really see, we had losing trades, but they were very minor.
Right.
And one thing I think we saw was we got into a trade a little bit early yesterday.
Right. Right.
Took a stop on it, and I said to you, we're going to get back into this trade.
Right.
And one of the things that we really focus on is that narrative, that
Right.
story that we see by using the tools of market profile,
Right.
and finding the opportunities. And those opportunities may mean buying here,
Right.
selling here, and selling here. So we really lay out on the different markets that we look at where we think opportunities are. And
Right.
the tool that we use primarily is market profile.
Right. Which is awesome, and it's an incredibly powerful tool. And it's very confusing. But I didn't know where to start when I went into it. And
Right.
being here now, and it's not just, okay, this is a B or a P or whatever. It's really taking a step back and adding back, adding in time
Right.
in a big way and really discussing time. We talk about time every day.
Yep.
So much more than price. So much more than price.
Thank
and
you.
that's been
I'm glad you
yeah, I mean it really is
gleaned onto that, because a lot of people want to focus on price. And price is very important, but I still say
if you know where it's going.
if time,
Right.
the more time at price is much more important and more valid information than
Right.
a little blip. You know,
Right.
just show me price. That alone is not
Right.
very valuable.
I mean, I think that, I think your Twitter feed, looking back on it now, there was so much value for me just to have a good signal. And as I've gone for the 4 months or whatever it's been, I've slowly been able to say, okay, he's telling me so much, what does this exactly mean? And now I'm going to go back and say, when you give me, it's going to go here, it's going to go there, I'm going to really be able to take my own charts,
Right.
my own, interpret your idea,
Yep.
filter it.
Right.
Is that a trade I even want to look at? Whatever, and that value,
Right.
to really put together,
One thing I would say about Tim is Tim came in with a great deal of patience, and one of the things I work on every day as a trader and as a person, it's still all about me in the mirror here, is patience. And we talk about it on the Twitter feed. I really emphasize it when students are here.
Right.
I'm sure, I know in past when students are here, they want to, they feel like they need to be doing something
Right.
all the time.
Right.
And there's that kind of that guilt or that rush that we all, again,
Right.
generally men more, feel that way.
You
like
want to
we
click something.
Yeah, we want to be doing something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit and kind of, I hope, again, that was imposed and you feel that a little bit more walking away from here that...
Oh, completely. I mean, that you would do your homework and get yourself into your setup, put the trade on, and then sometimes the best thing to do is just to walk away from it.
Yeah.
The fundamentals, have faith in yourself, the faith in the technical, excuse me. Fundamentally, you should just let it go.
Right.
And don't let the emotions force you out one way or the other.
Yeah, whether winning or losing.
Exactly,
Don't don't move your again, as...
Don't worry about what you left on the table.
Correct.
Huge,
And talk a little bit about how we talked about the imperfection of this business.
Right.
And I'm lucky if I pick tops, I'm lucky if I pick bottoms.
Right.
And I really feel that's where most people get caught trying to be a scalper, especially because
Yeah.
you have to do it too many times in a day, and it's that shrapnel that builds on.
Right. There's so much more value in being able to say, I took out a quarter of the market's value today, or move.
Right.
And think, okay, if I can do that consistently and just bump my volume up,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about. I'm on the bell curve. I'm in the middle.
The beautiful thing about trading is it is a scalable business.
Exactly.
The scary thing or the risky thing is it is a scalable business.
Exactly.
So as long as you understand that scale and are able to negotiate through the waters
Right.
of this game, and they can be choppy at times.
Right.
Markets aren't always trending. They're not always going up, and they're not always going down. And we are actually in one of those periods right now where we've talked about this for a while, where neither bulls nor bears are really in control of this market.
Right.
It's definitely in control by traders, and that demands a whole different set of skills maybe than when you're in just a trading market, or either up or down.
Right. Right.
So, in conclusion, what would you say to people that are thinking about coming out to Bend if they want to sit down and take the course with me in person? Great. If they want to do it on online, that's an option. But what would you say to them? What were your expectations?
Right.
What is missing?
Right.
What did you get out of it? What would you like to see more of?
I think I think if you're at a point in your trading career or whatever you're doing, if you know what your weakness is, if you're at the point where you can identify this is what I need to work on,
Mm-hmm.
you should come out.
Okay.
Because after 4 days of looking at the market with you, working on that one point, for me it was really understanding where I wanted to be, not getting emotional about the market, not worrying about, okay, I already have this on, or I got stopped out earlier.
Right.
Just having the faith in this works, no matter what you feel like it's going to work. So if you can do something like that, or if it was risk or whatever it is, if you're at the point where you have one or two things that need some attention, a week with you makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Makes all the difference. And then again, for some people, just I would think that seeing the lifestyle, professional trader, that's really empowering. All the pieces of it. Meeting you too.
Yeah.
Now, after a week, I feel like we're friends.
Yes.
We built a friendship up.
I agree.
A level of trust.
Yeah.
not that I didn't have it before, but I definitely have it now.
Right.
And that, you know, I think it just makes the relationship stronger.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better about what I'm doing in my path.
Good.
So.
Well, thank you, and it's been also very enjoyable spending the week with you, and you know, it's interesting living in a great place like Bend that is has 4 seasons and a lot to offer outside, and people are great. They
Right.
come from all walks of life, and it's a, you know, it's nice, big, small city.
Totally.
But the accommodations are great in the city. If you want to stay right downtown,
Definitely.
you want to stay, you know, rent a house, the options are there.
Definitely.
You know, you can walk to the restaurants, the shops.
Right.
Bring your family. They can do something while you're working because you're still done out here at 1 o'clock in
Right,
the afternoon.
exactly.
That's a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
They're sleeping when you're working.
Exactly. And you're a great host. I mean,
Thank you.
you showed me the town, you know, and there's a lot to see, like you said, for
Yeah.
a small town. There's a lot
Right.
to see.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
So, Tim, thanks again for coming out.
Thanks for
And,
having me. It's been great.
We look forward to our continued relationship, and
All right.
you know, you're welcome anytime.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.